Imagine a Texas police officer who goes above and beyond to fulfill a prisoner's final wish, a wish so shocking it'll leave you speechless. What could this convicted man possibly ask for in his last days? The answer will surprise you, and the truth will make you question everything you thought you knew about redemption. If you're part of the Black Visionaries family, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because this story is about to change the way you see justice and humanity. It was an ordinary morning at the Texas State Penitentiary, or at least it seemed that way to Officer Sarah Davis. She had been working in the prison system for over a decade, and nothing about this day appeared to be different from the others. But Sarah had no idea that today would challenge everything she thought she knew about redemption, guilt, and the human heart. Sarah walked through the dimly lit hallways of the prison, her boots echoing against the cold concrete floor. Her job was simple in its structure: maintain order, ensure security, and keep the peace among the prisoners. But as she rounded the corner of Block C, she was drawn to one particular cell, an inmate she had interacted with several times over the years. His name was Michael Harper. Michael was a man who had been convicted of a violent crime 15 years ago. He was now facing execution in just a few days. The brutal nature of his crime had shocked the community back then, a robbery gone horribly wrong, leading to the death of an innocent man. Michael had never denied his actions, but he had spent the years since in an intense process of rehabilitation, doing everything he could to show remorse for the life he had taken. He participated in counseling programs, worked to educate other prisoners, and found solace in religion. He had become, in many ways, the very opposite of the man who had committed the crime all those years ago. Sarah had crossed paths with Michael before. Over time, they had exchanged more than just pleasantries. She had often noticed how much he had changed, how he had taken full responsibility for his actions. But the fact remained that he was about to die, and no amount of remorse could change that. Sarah had always respected Michael's honesty and his genuine desire to atone for his crime. But she also knew the community had long ago closed the book on him, and there was no erasing the pain his actions had caused. One afternoon, as Sarah made her rounds, she found herself face to face with Michael, who had asked to speak with her. He was sitting in his cell, looking out the window at the sky that seemed so far away. The sadness in his eyes was undeniable, but there was something else there, a quiet determination that struck Sarah as odd. "Officer Davis," Michael said, his voice soft but steady. "There's something I need to ask you. I know it's a lot to ask, but I need to fulfill one last wish before I go." The words hit Sarah like a sudden gust of wind. She wasn't sure what to expect, but she certainly wasn't prepared for what Michael was about to say. His request seemed so far removed from anything she had dealt with before. Michael looked down at his hands, almost as if gathering the courage to speak. "I want to make amends. I need to reach out to the family of the man I killed. I know they'll never forgive me, but I need them to hear it from me. I need them to know how sorry I am for what I've done. Will you help me, Officer Davis?" The request shocked Sarah to her core. She had heard prisoners ask for things in their final days. Some wanted to see their families, others requested special meals, but this was different. Michael wasn't asking for his last meal or some token of comfort. He was asking for something far more significant. He was asking for the opportunity to face the family of the victim he had killed and express his deepest regrets, despite the fact that nothing he could say would ever bring that life back. "I don't know if that's something we can do, Michael," Sarah replied cautiously, unsure how to respond. "The victim's family, they may not want anything to do with you. You have to understand how painful that must be for them." Michael's eyes filled with sorrow as he nodded. "I know. I'm not asking for their forgiveness. I don't deserve that. But I need them to know that I'm not the same person I was back then. I'm not asking for anything from them, just the chance to say what I should have said years ago." Sarah had heard the pain in Michael's voice, and as she stood there looking at him, she felt conflicted. She knew how devastating it could be to face the person who had taken someone you loved. The idea of allowing Michael to speak with the victim's family felt like a betrayal to their grief. But there was also something undeniable about his sincerity. The man in front of her wasn't the same person who had committed that crime. And perhaps, just perhaps, the family deserved to hear the truth, no matter how painful it might be. After much deliberation, Sarah decided to take the next step. She approached her superiors, and after several conversations with the prison administration and legal teams, they agreed to allow Michael's wish to be granted. But there were conditions. The victim's family would not have to meet Michael directly. Instead, he would write them a letter expressing his regret and his apology, and Sarah would be the one to deliver it. When Sarah made the arrangements to meet with the family, she had no idea what to expect. Maria Lopez, the widow of the man Michael had killed, had been living with the pain of that loss for over 15 years. Sarah knew that bringing Michael's request to her would reopen old wounds. But she also knew that Michael's desire to atone was real, and she hoped that somehow this letter might bring a sense of closure, even if only a small piece of it. When Sarah arrived at Maria Lopez's home, she was greeted with a quiet, solemn expression. Maria, a woman in her late 50s, had lived with her grief for so long that it had become a part of her. Her face showed the weight of the years spent mourning her husband's death, and Sarah could sense the emotional walls Maria had built to protect herself from the pain. "I know this must be hard for you, Maria," Sarah began, her voice soft. "I have a letter from Michael Harper. He wanted me to bring it to you. He asked me to let you know how deeply sorry he is for what happened, and that he understands the pain he caused you." Maria looked at Sarah, her eyes filled with a mixture of anger, disbelief, and exhaustion. She took the letter but didn't open it immediately. Instead, she sat in silence, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. After a long pause, Maria began to read the letter, her hands trembling as she turned the pages. Michael's words were raw, filled with genuine regret and sorrow. He spoke about the crime, his remorse, and the life he had lived in prison trying to make amends. He didn't ask for forgiveness, but he hoped that, in time, Maria could find peace. As Maria finished reading, she looked up, her face a mask of quiet sorrow. "I didn't want this," she said quietly, her voice breaking. "I didn't want to meet him, to hear his voice, but this letter, I understand now. I don't know if I'll ever forgive him, but at least he's not the same person he was." The weight of those words settled in the room, and for a moment Sarah felt the gravity of the situation. Michael's wish had been granted, but at what cost? The pain was still there, as raw as it had ever been. But in that letter, in Michael's words, there was a flicker of hope, of closure, even if it wasn't complete. Days later, Michael's execution was carried out. His death, like his life, was filled with complexity and contradiction. He had done terrible things, but he had also tried, in his own way, to make amends. Sarah visited him in his final hours, and he thanked her for helping him fulfill his last wish. "I don't know if it changes anything," Michael said softly, "but at least I can die knowing I tried." After Michael's death, his story became a symbol of the possibility of change. It wasn't about redemption in the traditional sense. It was about accountability, about acknowledging the pain you caused and seeking to make things right, even when you can't undo the past. Maria Lopez, too, found a way to live with her grief. She didn't forgive Michael, but she had found a way to move forward. For Sarah, the experience changed her forever. She had seen a side of humanity she had never expected to witness: the capacity for remorse, the desire for atonement, and the complex ways in which people try to heal. Michael Harper had made his last wish known, and in doing so, he had shown that even in the darkest moments, there was a glimmer of humanity to be found. Before you go, make sure you subscribe right now and join the Black Visionaries family, because we're building a movement of stories that open eyes, touch hearts, and change lives. Until next time.